Hey, it's Tim.
And it's Amy from GoWithLess. We're so glad to see you here at our channel. You may notice we're back home. We've been on the road for 9 weeks and it's finally time to come back home. That's what our topic is about today. We're getting ready to sell our home and it's met with a lot of mixed opinions, I guess it is. We're going to be talking about why we are not going to have a home in our life anymore in today's video. I hope that you'll stay tuned.
I'm going to say mixed emotions as well, in addition to opinions.
From us.
Including our own emotions. So with that, every Wednesday, we come out with a new video here on our channel. If you aren't currently a subscriber, please be sure and hit that subscribe button. Also ring the little bell and you'll be reminded every time we come out with a new video. Please give us a thumbs up. And with that, let's get going. Oftentimes we meet new people and we're talking about our early retirement and the fact that we travel a lot. People are intrigued and oftentimes they're interested in, I really like that. That sounds like it would be a lot of fun to retire early and to travel a lot. Where we lose people consistently is when we talk about the next step we're planning to take, and that is we are planning to sell our home and not have a home. We are going to be on the road full-time being nomads.
Yeah, we're looking to do that for a really long time. Now, had you asked us in March of 2018, we would have said we will not be without a home. As a matter of fact, we were interviewed on a big podcast, on a early retirement podcast called Choose FI. We had the conversation in March of 2018 and the hosts asked us if we would ever be full-time nomads and sell our home. We both said
no.
Absolutely not, and we really believe that. The episode came out in June of 2018 and we had changed our tune and we decided to get rid of our home at the end of 2019, at the beginning of 2020. So it's kind of funny because we changed too.
That's right. Consistently. It seems like we make regular changes to our plans. As you probably, if you've watched our channel at all, you know that we change.
And here's what went into changing our mind on this. A year and a half ago, back in that March of 2018, I was really involved with planning our big 9 weeks away last year. This is in 2018. And I'm planning 10 different cities. We have 4, 5, maybe 3 days in a big city like Budapest or Krakow, Poland, or Prague, Berlin, Munich, all these places. And as I was planning, I realized we're just scratching the surface of each one of these cities. We don't have time to see all the things that we want to see. We don't have time to leave the city and to see other places nearby that are kind of day trips from the city. We didn't have time because these are all huge, big cities. And not only that, we were really exhausted because we were packing so much into 4 or 5 days in these world-class cities that we didn't really, we had a great time, but we have to go back to every one of these places because we didn't just say, okay, great, we've been there, done that, we can move on to a new place. We want to go back to every single one of them. And what we realize is that life is too short. We do not have enough time to see and experience all of the places in the world that we want to see and experience. So we're going to cut out our home in the process.
I think we both have, and we've talked about this a bit in the past as well, a serious case of FOMO, this fear of missing out. And so that probably means something different to other people, but for us it means that we're afraid that we're going to miss a part of this life that we want to lead, and not having a home sort of forces our hand to be out there doing what it is that we want to do, and that's being on the road and experiencing new places, experiencing new people, and just living our life.
And here's how I looked at it. So I mentioned at the top of the video that this year we had another 9-week trip. We even gone for 9 weeks, 2 summers in a row. But this time we had 2 days, 3 nights, really 2 days at home in between the 2 trips. And what I told Tim, I said, it feels kind of like when we were kids playing the game of tag and you had a home base. When you would run and be crazy and have all the fun and adventure off home base, coming back to home base allowed you to like, I'm on home base, I'm safe. But all the fun is off home base. The fun isn't on home base. For us, and some people, the fun is on home base. If you're one of those people, great. For us, the fun is off home base. And we realized that, so we're kind of a little bit torn. We're going to be talking about the mixed emotions Tim alluded to in our video, but there's something to be said for home base, but there's also something to be said for living our life off of home base.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about why we aren't going to rent out our place. So we have a home outside of Colorado, and we have one townhouse. We have been approached by a lot of people about maybe just rent it out and keep it. Here are the reasons why we are going to sell it.
Number one is we just don't think it makes good business sense. And so there's this thing, it's like a 1% rule. If your rent doesn't cover 1% of the purchase price, we obviously own this place, then it's probably not a good investment to make. Well, right now with the market being so good, our home, we hope, will sell for more than that 1% number. And so the return just wouldn't be that great, at least based upon the math that we're doing.
So it's like not even close. It is a really bad decision if you look at it as buying our current home as a rental. People wouldn't do it. So it doesn't make sense to maintain it. Second, we really like the idea of having a home, but if we rented it, we wouldn't be able to come back home. So having a stranger living in our home for several years doesn't give us any more of a concept of home. We would just need to get another home, right?
That's exactly right. But Parker's also been really good to us, but it's most of the time, we spend a lot of time in Denver. So a lot of the things that we love to do are in Denver. So we're commuting to Denver a lot. That costs a lot of money. So if we want to be in Colorado, which there's a good chance that we may be in Colorado for the long term, but if we want to be in Colorado, it'd be better for us if we were in Denver for a number of reasons. And so Parker isn't necessarily a place where we want to be in Colorado.
And for those who don't have a clue where the heck Parker or Denver are, it is maybe 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes for us to get up to Denver. So when Tim says that it costs money, it also costs our absolute most precious resource, time. So it takes us a lot of time to go to Denver, and we don't do all of the things we want to do in Denver that we would like to because it's a little far. We have a hard time just going up and seeing a movie for 2 hours and coming back home, or going to a lecture for an hour and coming back home, because the drive is more than the activity. So we just want to be up there, and we've talked about that before, but it's a big one that we want to be where our stuff is, the stuff we want to do is. I'm going to mention that there's a lot of mental baggage. So having a rental property, we only have one. We have friends, many friends, who have a lot of rentals, and it seems like it works great if you have multiple because it kind of spreads out the mental baggage, but we would only have the one. So even if it was rented out every single day, it still doesn't make financial sense for us, and we have to pay 10% to a property manager to collect the rent and find a tenant and take care of all that because we're going to be far away.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to have to deal with that. So that 10% premium isn't something we'd have to pay, but we would feel compelled to pay it if we were here. So again, that just makes the business side of it not so great.
And the way we look at it is, if we were to rent out our place, it's just expanding our investment portfolio. It wouldn't be keeping a home because, as Tim mentioned, we don't want to come back to Parker really ever. We want to come back to visit because we have friends here, but we don't want to come back and move here. So for us, taking the selling price, because we do own our home outright, taking all the proceeds from the sale and investing them makes a lot more sense for us, and that's a better financial decision.
Yep. So maintaining this property, when we say it would come with some emotional baggage, we would still be tethered to Parker, Colorado. So I think in the back of our heads, we would have this home here, and this would still be a place where we would be called back to deal with the property, just to deal with the fact that we own this thing that's in Parker, Colorado. So being done with that allows us to be done with that baggage.
Tim and I treasure freedom, and freedom from our jobs, even though we liked our jobs, freedom from having them, freedom to go to new places, and freedom from our home is a really big thing for both of us. Thankfully, we're both in sync with this.
It is amazing that we are both in sync on this. So every day, I think we run into a situation where couples are talking about money or talking about other things, and they're just not completely on the same page. Amy and I think in 99% of our life, we are just in sync. So it's a great thing.
And here's the crazy thing. So when I was planning that trip a year ago, I told Tim, I said, I think that we should get rid of our home and not have a home. Okay. That was as easy as that. So we have a lot of couples write to us, a lot of couples actually. It's funny how many men of couples write to us about their situation, and it's wonderful. So we encourage you to do it. We really love that connection. And some of them are on the same page, some of them aren't. So we really appreciate that we don't have to convince one or the other to get on the same page. We are
very lucky.
This is probably the most lucky thing of our whole life.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. But here's another thing, and this is going to be a teaser. We did a teaser in last week's video. For this video, we're doing a big teaser for next week's video, and we are actually going to be moving. We're moving to Texas. That's going to be next week's video. Why are we moving to Texas? So getting rid of our Colorado home address, the ties to Colorado, frees us up to move to Texas, please subscribe. Make sure you watch next Wednesday because that's going to be an exciting one.
It will be very exciting. Oh, by the way, I am from Texas, so that's where I grew up, and I lived there until 1999. So I've been in Texas for a large part of my life. So
yeah, so no one's heard us drop that on this channel, and we are excited to share that news. But now we're going to talk about the mixed emotions. I'm going to miss a home. I'm going to miss a home a lot. When we were home, it was kind of nice to have that. And we do, for those who might not know this, we do a lot of house sitting around the world. We can find that sense of relaxation in someone else's home. It's kind of funny to think that you might be relaxed in someone else's home, but until you do it, like I don't know that we would find that in all homes, but truthfully, I sleep better in many of the house sitters' homes and beds than I do in my very own bed, which I think is the craziest thing, but it is the truth. We slept beautiful. I mean, we just came back from San Diego, and the weather was exactly what we are talking about, what we've been looking for every day of our life. 75 every single day, 65 degrees Fahrenheit every single night. Perfection, made for great sleeping. We talk about our stuff on this channel, and a lot of our viewers leave comments that they've gotten rid of all their stuff and they have like one suitcase. I am not that person. So we are getting rid of our stuff. It isn't easy though, and we're going to be talking about, so we're kind of really deep into getting rid of our stuff. We've come back, we have 2 weeks at home. We are getting rid of a lot of stuff. We've already gotten rid of a lot of stuff. 4 years ago, we got rid of tons of our stuff when we downsized to this home. So getting rid of our stuff is a common theme. Usually it comes with freedom and feeling free, but until that freedom comes and it's gone, it's actually kind of weighs quite heavily on me. I really do have a very close grip on my stuff, and coming back for 2 days, actually I was living with a couple shirts for 7 weeks in Europe. I got back, I have my entire wardrobe all over again, and my stuff in my kitchen and my spices and just our variety of things that's more than we have in a small suitcase. And I kind of get tied back into that with having a home. So I had real mixed emotions that I'm leaving my stuff again.
Amy mentioned last year about June, we made the decision that we were going to sell our home and possibly be nomads. I think what really closed the deal for us was after we were in France for 7 weeks last year.
No, last year we did big quick travel to 10 cities, 5 weeks, and then a house sit for 4 weeks in France.
Okay. So last year when we were in France, we were away from our home for all that time. At the end of that trip, we realized that this is something we could possibly do full time. We didn't necessarily miss the things that we had back at home. And I think this trip, again this year, when we were in France for 7 weeks, that it was even more convincing that this is something that we could be doing full time and not be missing the things at home. Like Amy mentioned, I think that I was anxious to get back after our trip to San Diego yesterday, because we have a lot of downsizing to do. We have chores that are here at home. Once those chores are gone, and once this home is gone, and once we are free from all the things that come with owning this home, I don't think it's going to be too bad for us to be on the road at all. We're going to actually love it, is what I believe. It's not going to be too bad. It's going to be amazing. If for some reason it turns out that we don't like it, the worst case is that we go back and we start renting someplace and ultimately we buy a home in a place where we really want to be. So not here in the home where we are right now.
Yeah, and when Tim mentions, when I say I have a hold on my stuff, I have a hold on my stuff when I'm near my stuff. When I'm away from my stuff,
your stuff has a hold on you.
That's maybe, you're exactly right. So when I am away, I don't care. I don't miss it at all. As a matter of fact, I was regretting overpacking so much, and I had one small bag and a small backpack for my laptop. So I didn't have that much stuff, and I still regretted bringing so much, mostly because I had to carry it a lot, and it was crazy. But here, when we do get home, so not having a home, by the way, is a big cost. So what we've realized is that our current home that is paid off in a town we don't want to be in, number one, it requires a car, which we will also be selling soon enough. But number two, staying in this home costs us $1,000 a month, and it is paid off. That's the property taxes and the insurance and the utilities and the HOA fees. $1,000 a month. We're only going to be in Denver for 1 month a year. So certainly it doesn't make sense for us to have an empty home for 11 months. But if we wanted to have a home in Denver where we are renting that home, we figured that a home that we'd want to be in, a 1-bedroom apartment, would be about $2,000. And that includes our insurance, rental insurance, and the utilities, and all in about $2,000. And we're not talking like a fabulous, we're talking like a 1-bedroom, normal, nice place. But having $24,000 a year tied up for us to come back a month a year, like that, this is a money decision. So do I want a home? 100%. Am I guaranteeing that I'm going to be okay without a home? I am not. You're going to be seeing how we do on this channel as this unfolds. But I kind of have a little trepidation, but I'm not willing to spend $24,000 a year to have a home to deal with that.
I think we just said two different things there. Number one, we said it's going to be liberating to be done with the home. We can't wait to be done with the home.
That's the mixed emotions.
And then number two, Amy just said that it'd be really great if we could afford to have a home. So I think that if we had a few $1,000,000 more than what we have in the bank, there's some chance that we would own a place that wouldn't be here. It'd be someplace else where we could come and sit down roots whenever we're here back in the States. Since that's not in the cards, we are going to sign up completely for being on the road and be very excited about it.
And actually, what Tim says, so what I'm looking at, a 1-bedroom, that is even more. So the house we have now is a townhouse. All the outside shoveling and mowing and all the maintenance is totally done, but it still is a townhome. Having a 1-bedroom place in like a doorman building would leave, like, that would not have the mental baggage.
It would have less baggage.
Different, we're not talking apples to apples. So having a 1-bedroom, I don't think it would have like the mental problem that our home is unattended. I don't think I would care about that. But here's like the last thing on this is that if we don't like our nomad life, we are getting rid of every single piece of furniture. We are getting rid of a lot of our stuff. So we're back home for almost 4 months. I've already been getting rid of a lot of our things, and some of it I'm ready to be using. We're back in the kitchen cooking. I had like a veggetti, like a peeler for the zucchini that makes like zoodles, the zucchini noodles. A friend has already taken that off of our hands. Well, I was ready to use that today, and we don't have
No
that.
zoodles for us.
No zoodles for us. So the idea of like maybe repurchasing all of this stuff at full price when we're selling it at like 5 cents on the dollar or less is definitely daunting for someone who's kind of frugal. So the idea that we could get all new stuff is kind of cool, but for someone who has a hard time spending money, that is not such a fun idea. We don't really like that.
Yeah, I think actually it'd be like starting over, and it'd be fun to start acquiring these things again 10 years down the road. Hopefully, if we're doing this in a year, it'd be a little challenging from an emotional standpoint. But I think in 10 years, things change. A lot of this stuff, especially with technology, with televisions and the things that we were probably going to have in our life, in 10 years, those things will be completely different. So we'll have an opportunity to just do a refresh whenever we settle down, assuming we do settle down.
So really what it comes down to is that we're making a gamble, and you are along for the ride. Are we going to like our nomadic life? We have many, 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 many friends who guarantee that we're going to love it. We think we're going to love it, otherwise we wouldn't be doing this. But are those friends as much of a homebody as I am? I'm a homebody so I love travel. It's funny because I kind of have two sides. Half of me is a homebody, half of me loves to travel the world. These are two very, very different halves that live in the same body, and it's gone quite well for a big chunk of my life, but I'm getting ready the homebody is kind of not going to be satisfied. So let's see what happens, because I'm real interested.
Yeah, I think this is a little strange for me. I think a lot of people that travel for business, once they're done with their career and they traveled all the time for business, they're sort of done with travel. I'm done with it. For me, I think it sort of stoked the fire. All these places that I went to, I'd get to go there, I'd do my business, I wouldn't get to experience a place, but I loved getting on a plane and going. So for me, it just stoked the fires of travel, and I can't wait to get on a plane again and go someplace new. Luckily, Amy and I were talking again today about how blessed we are that we are on the same page when it comes to travel. I can't imagine if one of us were to say, I really don't like this travel thing. I think it would really put a damper on our lifestyle plans.
Yeah, maybe our marriage. Yeah. So we gave you the big teaser. We're moving to Texas. We're going to talk about that next week. We hope that you will give us a thumbs up. Again, subscribe over here if you haven't. Ring the bell. Comments. What are you thinking? Would you give up your home? I know a lot of our viewers have already weighed in on this. Please comment again. Our viewers, I like when people kind of comment on other people's comments. And hopefully other viewers will respond to your comments as well. But I would love to know, could you get rid of your home? I am still I'm feeling a little funny about it, but hopefully hopefully Tim's confidence will barrel us through. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Adios.